Hello and welcome to Community Forum. My name is Joseph Feaster. I'm the host of the program, and today I'm going to be focusing on caring and giving. I'm working with organizations that are out there trying to address the needs of persons who are less fortunate than we are, and have decided to create programs which will be a benefit and help to those individuals. Today I am fortunate to have with me two guests for a program which is known as Key for Hope. I have Ralph Greenberg and his daughter Alli Greenberg, and I'm going to ask for them to talk to us about how they conceptually came up with the idea, what they're doing, and what some of their future plans are. So first and foremost, welcome to Community Forum.
Thanks so
Joe.
much for having us.
All right. Ralph, can you tell us a little bit about how you came up with the concept of Key for Hope?
Sure. So my background is lab and scientific equipment, and I've traveled the world pretty extensively. And after my trip to Africa, I got pretty devastated about the hunger, the healthcare, and certain things, the lack of, that were there. So when I came back to America, I figured out what I could do with certain things in certain countries. And healthcare was an attainable goal based on my background. So I did this Walk for Poverty in Scotland during the G8 summit. And after my return home, somebody had asked me my name. Kind of an interesting story and a little odd, but they asked me my name. My name is Greenberg, and it's spelled two ways. So I told them when I was a Jewish guy married to an Irish gal, and my kids were cashews, mixed moral ethical nuts. Make a long story short, he asked me if I heard of the paperclip story, a group of kids in Tennessee that couldn't fathom how many Jews were killed in the Holocaust. So I said, what can I do with a group of kids in a classroom environment giving back? Well, everybody's got an unwanted house key or car key, and there's many of them out there. And I started to do some adding and calculations of how many children are in a classroom environment, and figuring out that keys that are made of brass can be recycled, and all of that proceeds can go back to a local food pantry in a community that's in need.
So when did you exactly, how many years now has Key for Hope been in existence?
2009 is when we got our registered 501c3 as a nonprofit.
So Alli, I hear your dad's inspiration certainly, and oftentimes children don't follow what their parents may do. How did you become involved in this? What inspired you?
I think it was a very natural humanitarian effort, where he came home, told me stories, and it was just a natural thing that I wanted to be part of. Fortunately, I was on an athletic team my whole life, so giving back was just a thing to do. When I went to college, I was introduced to this program called CPCS, Community of College of Public Service.
Went to UMass.
I went to UMass Boston.
Okay.
Great school. I was lucky enough to be advised by a woman named Shirley Fanchan, who was running a department called U-Access. It was an umbrella under student affairs where she would really protect these students. And fortunately, I understood that there was food insecurity on college campuses. I understood what we were doing at home. I understood what I could do on college campuses. And I understood that there was a need for my mission to be heard. So when we started the food pantry on campus, I was serving about 20 to 30 students weekly. I had to come up with my own in-kind donations, but fortunately, having my father's quest, I really tapped into the Key for Hope mission and started to collect keys for kids on campus. So,
as I started to view your website and through my discussions with your dad, I understand that the principal focus of Key for Hope is dealing with hunger and the feeding, both locally in terms of supporting local programs. How expansive are you now in that? How successful have you been on this mission?
I can answer.
Mm-hmm.
We were recently interviewed, Alli was, in Woman's Daily magazine.
Okay.
So the response from the country was incredible. The amount of key drives, the potential of 2017, 2018 key drives throughout the country is really exciting to us both. Locally, we've had conversations with Staples Corporation. A child goes to buy school products and goes into Staples and drops a key in a bucket, feeding the hungry. That was easy, the easy button. So for us, we've got so many ideas and so many creative thinking, but it's about the community. It's about them all getting together, grabbing their keys that are no longer needed, finding a bucket in a community, whether it's at Town Spa Pizza locally or a few other facilities that are locally that are doing key drives. And please, we have so many opportunities to help feed the local. That's exciting for us. And that's what our goal is, to get on Smack Television with you, Joe, and create a value and a buzz that could be really exciting for the community.
Well, that's really the reason why when I approached you about coming on Community Forum, because I was so intrigued by this effort, because quite frankly, this is, as I say, easy lifting for most individuals. How many of us have changed apartments, bought other houses, gotten rid of locks, in terms we no longer use it. There's these abandoned keys
Always
around. You have a tendency to hold on to them rather than to discard them. So why not do it in this way? And I was reading, again, because I try to do my homework when I have guests on. There was something you had said that 50 keys equals 1 pound of brass,
yes,
and 1 million keys recycled could equal $33,000 or more.
Yes.
If we're doing that. And it just seemed to me a simple task. I mean, I almost started to bring my bag of keys up here now, but I didn't want you and Allie to have to be the ones that have to do it.
We'll have a bucket here at Smack for you, don't worry.
Okay.
Right. And we were driving over here this morning talking about how many people make up Stoughton. It's 28,000 residents.
Yeah.
Imagine if 28,000 residents brought 1 key. Then we talked about if we got bigger, what if they all brought 10 keys? 15 keys. It's a big impact Stoughton could make.
Right.
Well, I think, it sounds like to me, in keeping with your idea of working with business as well, I would like to be able to say, and I'd like to possibly raise this with the town manager and or with the selectmen, that town hall would be an ideal place in which to be able to do that, because that's a central point for folks in the community at some point in time, no matter what service you're seeking or what payments you are making, that we ought to have that conversation. Have you had any conversation with government officials here in Stoughton at all?
We have a bucket at Town Hall.
You do?
We do.
Okay, see, so now it's the knowledge thing. I was there, I've been around and involved in, I was in the town hall the other day. I have no idea that it's there.
We have to probably make it in a better area.
Okay.
And maybe have a better signature for it, and that'll be for sure done very soon.
Yeah, I think that, explain to the audience, and I want to give Allie a chance to respond to some of these things as well. Explain to us what happens when you do the drop of the keys and the process. Do you follow the process all the way through to the recycling piece and all? Either one of you, if you can talk about that, I would appreciate
absolutely.
it.
It's very customizable to the donor. It depends if the donor is local. It depends if the donor is out of state. I usually am the one who follows up with a lot of the inquiries. So depending on where they're from, say they're Massachusetts locally, they have 15 keys. I would be absolutely willing to go pick up the keys. I would also like to multiply those 15 keys. So I like to respond back to that recipient and ask, maybe we can start a key drive locally within your community. If they don't want to, then we ask them maybe to ship them, and we'll take those 15 keys to put back to our charity of choice. That's fine. If there's maybe someone who's out of state, like we're talking to a woman in Illinois, she's part of this wonderful food bank who wants to get the church involved, and now it's her and I communicating how we can make it more competitively between the churches. It's unbelievable. And never mind, she wants now the schools to be involved, so it's really me to initiate the further conversation to get it going. Yes, the site host can be involved, but it's on us to follow through. And unfortunately and fortunately, it's just the two of us.
Well, see, you must have been, that was a segue, because I just was going to ask that question, that it was you and your dad that were involved in this. How can we expand that? 'Cause to me, this is such an exciting project. This is an easy lift. And obviously, the coordination of these things requires work.
He always has the bigger goal. I always see, especially being, a student college athlete, my interns, I would love just someone to just help, just coordinate, just, volunteer, because it's a good act. And I feel like we're an easy cause, an attainable cause, where I find a lot of demand and purpose for our mission.
Well, let's talk about that a bit, because I want our viewing audience to align themselves with that thought that you just raised, Allie, of participation. Because if you have interns, and there are probably persons sitting in, we have Stonehill College just right near here. You went to UMass, and there are many persons who are in the community. We had a former chancellor is a resident of UMass, our neighbor, in fact. I'm going to challenge you, because I think that part of it is you've kept it between you to a large extent, because I can't believe that as much as I was in town hall and that I didn't even know that there was a bucket there. So maybe let's lay out a plan, if you can, and I know that putting you on the spot right here on air, but what plan would you want to try and implement to? Would you have a volunteer drive? Would you want to do it that way in terms of to get folks, get to a location, have people come, have folks sign up? It is summertime. There's young people from all over the country who are around or out of school. Yep. How would you want to go about it?
I believe in the local communities, children are our best asset. Mommy, daddy, auntie, uncle, do we have a key? Can we bring it back to school that we don't need and drop it into a bucket, and all of the proceeds go to your local food pantry? In any country in America, there's a scrap metal vendor. We can decide how you get your keys to them. We can get you the best rate for your keys. And we at Key for Hope are not asking for money from you. We're asking for keys. And the best thing is there's no value when you're throwing these keys away. And for us to turn it in, and I say this respectfully, chicken poop to chicken soup for people most of the time, because keys are discardable. It is. It's a throwaway item every day. And if we can create the value with these kids in America, to ask mommy, daddy, and auntie, uncle who have businesses in America and employ many people that can say, listen, let's do key drives in our community and our businesses, our places of worship, and then all of the money can go back to our community food pantry. You know, my wife always says, you know, you've got to find a way to get the keys back and forth. Well, when you're talking about interns and they have a license and they can drop a bucket and a poster and pick up buckets and keys on a regular basis, then we've created what we're looking for. It's not about economics to us at the Key for Hope. It's about the quality of how people should live. And nobody should be hungry in the United States of America, nobody.
Well, let me posit something, because I want us to explore this. And again, if I'm being unfair, because we haven't had any prior conversation on this, but I'm thinking outside the box at the moment on how it might be done. So what if we imagine that we're going to take 5 institutions, and that could be government, that could be churches, that could be organizational. And if I said to you, okay, let's start with Stoughton. I'm going to stay local for the moment, because I think we have opportunity.
We always want to pilot this.
Yeah. Then if there were 5 places where we wanted to do that, and I mean, in my own mind, we already talked about the government one, and I'm not sure that the knowledge base that people are there. I mean, right now, folks are paying their taxes. This would be a great deal time to have that sitting right in front of the treasurer's office for the key, for instance, in terms of location. But the schools, you have a program that you have Keys in the Classroom program. What conversation could you have with Superintendent Rizzi? You have the chamber; they have their meetings, and if you're speaking with Terry, in order to do that, my point is, Town Spa Pizza, as much as people go in the parking lot is full most times, day and night, to get them on. So if we could identify 5 businesses, and I've just thrown those out, I would like to see that we could be able to do that within the next quarter, to be able to establish those relationships with those particular entities to see whether we can carry this further. What do you think?
And I think come back and list those people on this show again, for sure.
Yes.
I think it's a great idea.
Does it work in the sense for you, Alli?
I'm for the challenge. I'm absolutely for the challenge. I've just, I'm concerned over the last drop-off locations we've had, and that even though we have the awareness and the poster, people are still throwing, maybe a trash, a piece of, maybe their straw wrapper or anything. It's not a key being thrown in. It's almost, and I don't know what that is. Maybe that's him and I to come up with a more creative bucket. Maybe that's him and I to come up with more awareness. Maybe that's a better, literature. I don't know what that is at the moment. But when I notice that there's not keys thrown in our bucket, I need to address that a little bit more. I only want keys.
Okay. Well, I think that, all part of this is education.
Of course.
And even doing this show here is part of that, to tell our viewing audience that this program exists and ways in which they can be helpful, where it's not going to be too strenuous for them. I would suspect that in terms of the placement of it, or maybe we have to do it almost like the Salvation Army does, in terms of you have the person with the bell, or you have something, there may have to be additional things. I can see some folks may not even look at it. They're looking around for a place to throw their trash. They're going to throw it in after they throw trash and keys in there. Right. So I think that maybe, post this show, we sit down and we talk about ways in which you may raise the awareness and the opportunity, and and maybe that's something that we can consider. But if we were to talk about places that we may want to do it, some of those places that I mentioned earlier, the school, working with the school department, working with the town a little bit more, working with the chamber, working even with, we have folks going through here throughout the week here at SMAC.
Oh, yeah.
We have plenty of the churches around here, and I know they have a lot of interdenominational things that can go on. Can we commit to maybe expand? I'm willing to help.
Oh, totally, and we're very, very receptive and excited about that. I mean, we've got real estate agents, of course. Buy a house, bring your old keys. We have things going on, candidly.
Yes.
And we want to expand upon those things. And understanding today's family do not have the money for charity. This is a 1940s war effort. We as Americans did a great thing for the 40s war effort. We put metal out for the war. Today's war on hunger shouldn't be. We can eradicate that hunger by putting our old keys and even other things eventually. We can talk about the scrap drives and things. My background is scrap metal as well, so kind of understand the process and really what needs to be done and how to create a value. Like I said earlier, we have discardable things in our household. Keys are the most attainable form of recycling today to use.
Well, let me just also, because we talked about this off air for a minute, and this is the issue of picking up the keys. Now, if this program creates additional success, we're talking about the volume could occur, and I would suspect that if one were to fill the bucket, why don't you, I know you have the bucket there, just want to show one at the buckets that you have right now. If that was to be filled up, that's going to be...
could be 70 pounds
that's
of scrap metal.
That's right.
At a $2 market, it's $140.
Yes.
What does Rachel Ray say? You can feed a family on $10?
Yeah.
I mean, that's 14 families.
So what I'm saying is then as well, we would want to build in the pickup process on that, and see, I envision, I think big, so I'm thinking of barrels at places, not
We'd
just
love
a
to see
bucket.
Gillette Stadium
I'm talking about a barrel and picking
$2,600
up.
in a 55-gallon drum. I agree.
And then talking with entities that might be able to assist with that. Do you have the ability to do the direct connect to the persons who would do the recycling?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yeah, we have perfect pricing and great people throughout the country if that's the case. We would love, daily we'll get a key bag in on the mail. One Yawkey way the Red Sox. NASA, the National Geographic magazine, or a wonderful kid from Jamaica, New York, Eric First. I have so much praise for this. Every day an envelope. It could be a Sucrets box with a paper clip and a few different pieces of metal, but there's a key every day in his mail. Every day from Jamaica, New York, Eric First. I have to just say, people are receptive to giving, and if they don't have to give money, what an opportunity. So keys are coming from everywhere, and I can name San Jose Sharks, and we've got the Philadelphia Eagles, and everybody sends us keys, and what we're trying to do is figure out how to keep them in their community and create a value for themselves.
As you were speaking, another name came up for me, Keys for Life, because when we're talking about food and water are essential in order to live, I don't think we pay enough attention to hunger around the world, for sure. And certainly we can localize it also. But the reality is that, what you're doing here is extraordinary. But what I want to do at this point in time, I want to make sure I give my sponsors the respect that they do by supporting our program. So we're going to go to our sponsors, and when I come back, I want to talk a little bit more about, I want to look to the future as to what we might be able to do to help this program going on. And I want to challenge you, the viewing audience, to start right now. Go on the website, which we'll have that number up soon, and go in there and make those contributions to Key for Hope. We'll be back in a moment.
Hi, it's Gary LaPierre, and the crew wants to thank Maxie's Delicatessen. That's at 117 Sharon Street in Stoughton. They're 781-341-1662. American Cancer Society, yes, they're looking for volunteers. Drive cancer patients to and from their treatments. 1-800-ACS-6662, or just go to www.cancer.org. Ilsa Mark's Food Pantry in St. Anthony's Free Market, 2 Park Avenue in Stoughton. For more information, call Christine Gallagher. That's at 781-341-0611 or 781-341-0549. Meals on Wheels. Just ask for Jessica. You'll find her at 781-344-8882, extension 2. Stoughton Penny Saver. Our business is advertising your business, they tell us. 27 Rose Glen Street, Stoughton, 781-344-4833. Community Forum showtimes in Stoughton. It's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at 6 p.m., Monday at 8 p.m., Tuesday at 5 p.m. It's on Comcast Channel 9 and Verizon Channel 28. All comments and suggestions welcome. Contact us at communityforum1@yahoo.com. Samaritans, they're at 41 West Street on the 4th floor in Boston, 02111. Their phone number is 617-536-2460. 24-hour helplines for Samaritans, and the number is 877-870-HOPE. That's 877-870-4673. Samaritans, you can find them at 800-252-TEEN. That's 252-8336. Or find them online at SamaritansHope.org.
Monday night bingo at Ava Torah Congregation, 1179 Central Street here in Stoughton. This is a time for you to go out there, have fun, spend a little money, support the congregation there. The doors open at 4:30 p.m. Games start at 6:30 p.m. Go down, have some fun, spend some money, support a good cause at Ava Torah Congregation. Hometown Business Show. This show airs here on SMAC or Tuesdays at 11 a.m., Wednesdays at 5:30 p.m., Thursdays at 8 p.m., Sundays at 7 p.m. on Comcast Channel 9 and Verizon Channel 28. Key for Hope. This is the folks who are here with me in the studio today, and you can find out more or you can communicate with them directly by contacting Ralph on his email at ralph@keyforhope.org or at ali@keyforhope.org. Or you can go on their website where you can make the contributions. You can even go on there and determine that you want to be a location where keys can be collected. And you can go on www.keyforhope.org. And of course, they are out there in the social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Go on there and like them. All right, well, we're back again, and thank you again to our sponsors who make sure that we're able to do Community Forum. And you know, what you were talking about, you and Alli are talking about, is so intriguing, and I'm so effusive about this is because I just think it's a great idea. I think it's something that's easy to do. I'm ready to take the keys on my key rings are the ones that I need, so I can't do those. But I'm going to drop by the house. I have in the trunk of the car. I got keys. I may have to walk out with you and give them to you. Either one of you, I want you to talk to the viewing audience and to tell them the types of things that they can do right now. The types of things to do right now that they can do for the story. Alli, I'm going to let you be the one to tell our viewers. You can look right in that camera right there.
I would love if all the elementary schools in Stoughton would really participate in our Keys in the Classroom program. Me being part of Given School, that's the first one I challenge. I would go in, I'd be happy to speak to the kids, talk about the importance of recycling, giving back, sustainability, all through our Key Drive. I just feel, the kids need to understand that they could be the change, and I would love to be their key to this. So please contact me. I would love to help anyone out.
Great. Well, in terms of on the schools, the superintendent is a dear friend. So I'm going to challenge the superintendent to, maybe we'll go over and visit with the superintendent. So when school starts up, there'll be Key for Hope buckets at each of the schools.
Black Knight Hunger Fighters, I love it.
That's right.
Too.
So maybe I'm going to make a commitment to work with you, Alli, in order to have that meeting with the superintendent over the course of this summer to see whether we can implement that in the fall.
Joe, I appreciate that.
Yes, absolutely.
Great.
And now that I have one with Alli, then I'm going to work with her on. How about you, Ralph? What organization that I can assist you with in order to further this effort for Key for Hope?
I think the Chamber would be a great start for us, and getting the local businesses to say, listen, when you're coming in and shopping in our store, drop a key. And we'll come, we'll pick up the keys, we'll show people what has been done, and we'll create a value in our community. Every community needs to give back. We as Americans have done this for centuries, give back programs. And this is a very simple one without asking for money.
Well, I'm going to commit to work with you. We're going to give Terry Snyder a call.
We're ready.
And say to Terry, and since Jeffrey Pickett was or is the president of the Stoughton Chamber of Commerce, we're going to focus on those two. And the third one that I'm going to just throw in here, our dear friends at the YMCA.
Love it.
And if we can come back, start on those efforts, see how they materialize, and then come back and report at some point in time, either on your webpage or in terms of come back on this program in order to talk about it. So we're about to close on this. Is there any closing comments quickly that you'd like to do?
Well, the buckets are available, and you can reach Alli or I at Alli@Key4Hope or Ralph@Key4Hope.org. And it's as simple. You take a key, you put it in a bucket, and you can help feed the hungry. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Well, Ralph, Alli, I'm so happy to be able to bring this to our viewing audience here on a Community Forum. I have committed on air. You have me on record, and Roy will make sure that record is sustainable, that I've committed to help you at least with those 2 and maybe 3 efforts in carrying this forward. I want to congratulate you both on what you have done, and I will hope for the viewing audience that, if nothing else, the key drop is easy, but more importantly, if you can assist Ralph and Alli in some of the coordination of this, that would be beneficial. I think our seniors could be involved with this. Of course, Alli, as you mentioned, our students can be. I think it's a great effort. So again, I want to thank you both for being here with me today.
Thank you
Wish
so
you
much.
all the luck, and
Thank you.
we'll definitely talk about this more in the future.
Thank you
Good
so
luck.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.